I got scammed out of my white Zombas. Now before you go yelling at me in the comments saying that it was my own fault, I know it was. Now in the scam, he ended up giving me these items, and so I decided to take them and see if I couldn't just trade them all the way back up to white Zombas. So let's get right into it. So because I'm really new to trading, I don't know a whole lot about what's actually good to trade up to. So I decided to see if I couldn't just trade my werewolf up for something a little higher in value. I found someone who was willing to do it, and they gave me their Dominus GT in change for my werewolf, and that started off the series with the first trade. So for the second trade, I decided to do a lot of the same thing I did with the first one, and I just tried to trade it up for something a little higher in value. I found someone who was trading their Maverick, I offered them my Dominus GT, they accepted, so we were able to get something a little bit higher in value than the Dominus GT. For the next trade, I traded my Maverick up for a black market gold explosion. I had to message a load of people asking if they would do it. A lot of them said no, but I finally found someone who was willing to say yes and willing to trade it with me. So we were able to trade it Maverick up to a black market gold explosion. For this next trade, I traded up my werewolf body and my exotic wheels for anodized pearl. Now, I'm pretty sure this was actually okay of a deal. Anodized pearl was going for about 100 credits at the time. Both my items combined were only going for about 80-ish. So I was totally fine with this, and I feel like I made pretty good profit on this trade. This next trade, I decided to try to see if I can't trade my black market up for something better. I found somebody, and he was willing to do it, and then we got into the trade lobby, and he said I needed to add. So I just quickly added some of the limiteds I had and the one import, and he finally accepted, and so I was totally cool with this. I don't actually think I lost anything, but I could be wrong. According to the spreadsheet, I didn't, but you never know. So I was happy to make that trade. The next trade I did was me trading Intrudium up for Streamline. Now, Streamline at the time was going for 200 to 300, but a lot of people were selling it for like 180 to 190, somewhere like in there, and they buy it for really cheap. And so I was hoping that maybe I could get away with trading Intrudium for it. And I finally found somebody who was willing to do it. He said he was losing profit on it or whatever, but he still accepted. And I was like, you know what? That's whatever. Joke's on him. After having anodized pearl up for a while, anodized pearl, whatever you want to call it, I finally found someone who's willing to give me 90 credits for it. I jumped on this really fast. I know some people have sell it for 100, 110, but I just took the 90, was done with it, turned it all into credits. That way we can go buy other stuff. So this next trade is actually a trade of a guy trying to scam me. I knew it was probably not legit at all because who the Harry wants to sell electroshock for 90 credits? But apparently he does. So anyways, you just watch closely. There goes the electroshock out of the thing. I canceled because I'm like, I ain't going to deal with it. It ain't worth it. This next trade, I found a guy who was selling sparkles for 50 credits, which at the time, I think sparkles is going for 80 to 100 credits, and he was asking 50. I gave him the 50 credits because I was pretty sure I could flip this for at least a 30 credit profit, if not 40, and made this deal. Super happy about this trade. We'll take these any day of the week if I can. So at this point in time, I had Streamlined for about a day, and I could not sell it for the 200 credits that I was asking. Finally, guy asked me for if I would take 190. I said yes. If he would add something, he threw in a limited item, and I was like, you know what? I'll just take it. I'll be done with it. I might be able to get 10 credits for that item. I have no idea. But I was like, you know what? 190 is worth it. I already made profit off this. We got it from a werewolf. So totally happy with that trade. For this next trade, I decided to go ahead and put up an ad that I was buying limited items. I basically went and said I'll buy 24 limited items for 20 credits, which I've seen other people do it, usually for 10. And I figured that hopefully I could get a couple good, decent items in there. I wasn't sure. I seen the checkered flags in there, and I was pretty sure I could get about 20 credits for each, and that's what I was really hoping I could do. And so yeah, I was totally fine with giving 20 credits for all these items. And literally 30 minutes later, some guy messaged me saying he wanted to buy the yellow or the saffron colored checkered flag for 20 credits, and I took it. And just like that, we had literally just paid off all of those items that we just bought for 20 credits. So I was super happy that I had went ahead and bought all those limited items. And yeah, this made good profit so far. So the next trade I made was for electroshock. A guy was asking 170 for it, and so I went ahead and added him. And then when I got in, he actually said he was asking 200 and made a mistake on the post, or I don't know, something like that. So I threw in a couple limited items that were worth maybe about 20 to 30 credits roughly for it. He accepted, and we were able to buy ourselves electroshock for 170 plus some ads. Hopefully I'll be able to spin it for about 240. and I was really happy with that. So this next trade was me selling off the black checkered gold explosion to a guy for 20 credits, and I'm super happy about this trade because, I mean, it's just pure profit at this point. Any of these limited items that I sell is all just profit. I mean, I think this is a really good trade to do for those 24 limited items, and yeah, I'm super happy about this trade. The next trade I did was actually for some more limited items, and I really have no idea if any of this stuff is going to be valuable. I mean, it's really, honestly, just a really big gamble, I guess you could say. Sometimes you get really lucky, but for 24 items and 20 credits, you know, surely there's some profit somewhere that can be made. Really, we just got to make 20 credits back, and then everything else is free to us, basically. But the next trade was another guy messaged me saying he wanted to buy the crimson checkered flag, and he gave me 20 credits for it, which means we just paid off the next set of limited items we just previously bought. So I was super happy about that. And now basically all the limited items we have in our inventory now is pure profit. It doesn't matter what we sell them for, but we're going to make profit from them. So funny enough, this is actually another guy trying to scam me. People are crazy, okay? There are so many people out there that are trying to scam anymore. It's nuts. This guy wanted my electroshock, acted like he was this new player or whatever. And as you see, he just took out his Hextide. And so me being the person I was, just went ahead and typed in the chat saying that he can go ahead and throw that back in for me. And then he promptly left, and I've never seen him since. Next trade was a guy messaged me saying he wanted to buy 2 of my limited items for 10 credits. I had these both listed for 10, but nobody was buying them, and a guy said he'd give me 10 credits for both of them, and I said, you know what, I'll take it because it's pure profit, and I'm not really expecting to get 10 credits out of them because they're not even really worth that. This next trade is actually me selling off about 12 or 13 items worth of limited items for just 10 credits. I know it's probably wasn't the greatest deal, but also at the same time, I just want to clear my inventory and try to turn some of this stuff into credits, and plus, it was a pure profit, so I didn't care. So this next trade, I finally was able to sell sparkles for my 90 credits that I was asking. I had some people ask me if I was still selling it, and then they would just like ghost me or whatever, never came back. And we bought this thing for 50 credits, so we made a 40 credit profit. And now for the final trade of the video, we were able to sell our cobalt checkered flag along with electroshock. Now the guy messaged me saying he just wanted to buy the cobalt checkered flag, and then in the chat in the game he said he wanted to buy electroshock as well for the 240 credits. So he throws in 260 credits, and I throw in the 2 gold explosions. Super happy about this because we bought electroshock for 170 credits plus some ads, so we made huge profit on this trade. I went ahead and traded my Nexus SC for 30 credits. I've had this from the very beginning. I've tried to get rid of it for what it was worth, and I couldn't get it. I eventually dropped the price all the way down to 30 credits, and someone finally offered me that, and I was more than happy to take this. For the next trade, I traded 60 credits plus a limited item for some Zombas. Now these are going for about 90 to 100 credits right now, and so I was pretty happy with this trade. And honestly, the guy was asking 70, but I gave him 60 plus the limited, and he took it, so I was totally cool with this. This next trade, I was able to trade off a crescent moon for 10 credits, and we bought this in a bulk deal, 24 limited items for 10 credits, or for 20 credits, so I was totally happy selling this off for 10 credits. This next trade, I was able to trade my Zombas for 70 credits, plus this checkered gold explosion, which, I mean, I wish I would have gotten more for it, but in the end, I was okay with this. We made profit off of it. It's not like we were losing a whole bunch. So honestly, I was okay with this trade. This next trade, I was actually kind of questioning myself. I thought it was really good. A guy was selling a titanium white riser gold explosion for 30 credits, and I thought maybe I could get a lot more for this. And then after looking at prices, realized that it's not really worth a whole lot more than this. So I was a little bummed out, but we were able to get it for 30 credits. This next trade, I was able to find a guy selling Trigon for 150 credits, randomly popped up in RO Garage, and I jumped on it as fast as I could, because this is like 50 credits under minimum of what it's selling for. So we quickly hopped on, gave him the 150 credits, super happy with that trade. Now previously, I just bought this titanium white riser for 30 credits, and a guy came in and offered me some serious item overpay for it. I mean, the Octane ZSR alone is worth like 40 to 50 credits, plus these 2 other things are worth like maybe 50 to 60 a piece. So I was super happy with trading this off to him, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to turn a pretty good profit on that little 30 credit investment. This next trade, I bought sparkles for 50 credits. If you've seen in the last episode, I also did the same thing, and I was able to trade sparkles back for 90 credits then. So I was hoping I could maybe make a 40 credit profit off of this trade as well. And I honestly had just put up a post saying I was buying sparkles for 50 credits. So that's how I was able to get this trade. This next trade, I was able to sell off my Trigon black market decal for 190 credits, which is a little bit below the minimum. I think the minimum is going for like 200 to 300 right now. I asked 190 because everyone else was asking 200, and I kind of wanted mine to stick out, so we were able to make a nice 40 credit profit on this trade. In this trade, we were able to sell off the Octane ZSR for 40 credits, which just paid for the Riser Gold Explosion, which we paid 30 credits for, plus we made 10 credits profit. And now those two other items, the Cobalt Cosmosis and the Titanium White Star Power decal, I believe is what it's called, both able to sell for about 50 credits, so I'm super happy with that original trade. This next trade, I was able to sell off Sparkles for 100 credits, which was actually a mistake because I was originally looking for just 90, but I made a mistake on the post and accidentally said 100. But it actually ended up working out because the guy said he wanted to buy it from me for 100. So I was like, you know what, I'm totally cool with taking 100 credits for it. So this next trade is a little bit repetitive of what I did before, except this time I bought Trigon for 160 credits instead of 150, which is still a really good deal in my opinion. But honestly, I kind of wish I would have got it a little cheaper, but it's not that big of a deal, and I'm super happy with taking that trade. Now, these next couple of trades, I was actually able to buy Sparkles, 2 sets of Sparkles for 50 credits each. Now, if you're curious, I think I mentioned something about this earlier. I did put up a post saying that I was buying Sparkles for 50 credits, and honestly, I don't understand, but I think, like, people should just sell them themselves, but I guess unless they're trying to get rid of it really fast and just want quick profit. But seriously, I've been able to get 80 to 90 credits worth out of all these, and here in my previous trade, I made 100 credits, so I'm totally happy with buying Sparkles for 50 credits. So this next trade, I bought Titanium White Checkered Flag Gold Explosion for 30 credits, just like I did the Riser Gold Explosion. The only thing is, I just don't think I'll be able to sell it really for 40 or 50, which is what I was hoping. So best luck, I'll be able to get my 30 credits out of it, hopefully. This next trade was for Cobalt Cosmosis. A guy gave me 50 credits for it. I had posted for 60 for a while. No one was asking or offering me anything for it, and so I dropped it to 50. This guy said he'd take it, so I was totally fine with making 50 credits off of this trade. For this next trade, I honestly cannot hardly believe that I was able to get this. This is absolutely like the craziest trade I think I've ever made. This guy wanted my Trigon, and he only had 140 credits, he said, and he wanted it so badly that he was offering me so many different items, and then he like out of nowhere just threw in Titanium White Yamanes plus the 140 credits, and these wheelers are going for like 300 to 400 right now. I couldn't hardly believe it, and honestly I almost felt bad, but we made huge profit on that Trigon trade. This next trade, I was able to sell off one of my Sparkles for 90 credits. I made sure to make the post right this time, even though I kind of was thinking maybe I should keep it at 100 credits because, you know, it worked out last time. But anyways, we were able to make 90 credits off this thing and made a nice 40 credit profit, so I was totally fine with this. This very next trade was actually the very same guy. After I just completed the previous one, he invited me to a trade again, and he really wanted my 3 checkered flag gold explosions, and he didn't have enough credits, so he gave me 30 credits plus black market popcorn gold explosion and a few other items which I don't even know what to do with, but still, in total he gave me about 110 credits worth of stuff, and I was only asking about 60 credits for my 3 gold explosions, so I was totally happy with taking this. And honestly, I think item overpays are the way to go, and I think I need to start looking for them more. This next trade, I was able to sell off my other Sparkles boost for 70 credits plus the dicey, I believe is how you pronounce those, correct me if I'm wrong, wheels, and I think I'll be able to get about maybe 10 to 20 credits worth out of these things, so it's only about a 20 or 30 credit profit, and I'm honestly totally happy with this. And by the way, if any of y'all are curious why I haven't traded any blueprints off, it's because I never traded all my original blueprints from this account into another account. And so I was like, you know what, I just won't worry about trading them off. I really need to just move them, but that's why you haven't seen me trade any black market blueprints. So there you go. Now for the final trade of the video, I was able to sell off my Titanium White Yamanes for 320 credits, which, I mean, I'm totally happy with. I think if I would have been a little more patient, I might have been able to get about 330 to 350 credits, but I mean, this came from the huge item overpay for my Trigon black market decal, so I was totally fine with this. I mean, yeah, I do think I could have gotten more, but you know what, it's totally cool. At the time of me buying this was actually a pretty good deal. It was about 50 credits below what Trigon was selling for, at this point in time, Trigon has literally just hit the fan. I mean, it is awful. It's like worth like 100 credits now. But trust me, at the time this was a good deal. This next trade is a little bit questionable, but a guy offered me 100 credits plus Neothermal and this Rocket League Burnt Sienna decal for my Trigon, and I went ahead and took it because it was pretty good item overpay, but really it was just not that great of a deal in my opinion. This next trade is pretty simple. A guy offered to buy my CDJ wheels for 10 credits. And if you remember, we actually got this in a big bulk deal of limited items. So this is a nice little 10 credit profit that we made right there. This next trade is a little bit repetitive. I went ahead and found another person who was selling Trigon for 150 credits. And again, like I said earlier, at the time, this is a really good deal. I think the price has dropped like by nearly half. So it's, in today's standards, this would be horrible, but at the time, trust me, it was a good deal. So this next trade, I bought gray Yamanes and titanium white Finnies for 140 credits. I don't exactly remember if one was 60 or 80 or 70, but I went ahead and picked them up. I was pretty sure I could make some pretty good profit on them, so I was pretty happy with finding this deal. For this next trade, I was able to sell popcorn for 90 credits, and it's been a while since I made the last video, so I really don't actually remember how much we paid for this, but I was thinking it was around 50 or 60 credits, and I was just super happy that we were able to find a guy that was actually willing to buy it for the 90 credits I was asking. For this next trade, I was able to actually sell off my titanium white checkered flag for 50 credits, and I believe we bought this for 30 credits a while back. I don't exactly remember. So we made about a 20 credit profit, which I was totally happy with. This next trade, I was just trying to clear my inventory up, and I went ahead and got rid of, I think it was 12 of the limited items I had. I couldn't sell them worth anything, and I was like, you know what, I'll just get 10 credits for it, be done with it. I hate having my inventory all cluttered up. It really bothers me. This next trade, I was able to sell my gray Yamane wheels for 2 black checkered flag gold explosions and 2 titanium white checkered flag gold explosions. At the time, I was pretty sure I could make a load of profit off of this because I could sell the black checkered flags for about 20 to 30 credits, and the white, I had literally just sold a white checkered flag for, I believe, was 50 credits. So this was huge profit in my opinion, and I don't know why the guy wanted to do it, but he wanted them Yamanes, I guess. For this next trade, I actually went ahead and found someone selling Octane Shisa for 120 credits, which is about 60 to 80 credits below what it was going for at the time. I don't actually know what it's going for right now. I can't tell you off the top of my head. But this was a really good deal, and I jumped on it as soon as I could. Also, he had them beautiful white Zombas right there. This next trade, I bought Biomass for 100 credits, which was, I think, 20 to 30 credits below what it was going for at the time. And I figured I could at least flip this for a little bit of profit, so I went ahead and took it. For this next trade, I bought Glorifier for 130 credits, which I think was as well below the minimum at the time. I think it was going for, want to say over 150, but I really don't remember exactly. Either way, we picked this up, and I was pretty happy with that trade. This next trade is a little bit interesting, but we were able to sell the Biomass for 40 credits plus Andonized, Big Splash, a Flower Tulip, and these Orange Striker Gaydens. I was kind of skeptical about doing this, but I figured I could probably get, you know, a decent amount of credits for these things. It's just, I don't really like breaking, like, black markets up into a bunch of smaller items, because it's just harder to sell stuff, really. And I mean, I guess it's whatever. It was all right. It worked out in the end, but I wasn't overly excited about this, but I figured I'd try to make it work anyways. So this next trade, I actually found a guy who was selling Glorifier for, I believe it was 110 credits. And I messaged him and asking him if he would still had it available, because it was really a really good deal at 110 credits. Well, he did, and he couldn't sell it to me for like, I think it was another like 4 or 5 days, and I told him I could wait until then, and he said if I would, he'd give it to me for 90 credits. And so I waited patiently, and when he was able to trade it to me, he was true to his word and gave it to me for 90 credits, which was 40 credits cheaper than what I bought my other one for, and that one was already below what the minimum was at the time. So this was an absolutely fantastic deal. This next trade was pretty basic. I was able to sell off the Gaydon Striker orange wheels for 50 credits. I think this was a little bit below the minimum at the time, but I had the post up for I don't know how long. Nobody wanted it, so I dropped it by like 10 or 20 credits. Guy picked it up, said he'd buy it for 50, and I was like, you know what, I'll take it, because at this point in time, I was just looking to get rid of him. This next trade was actually the same guy, and he wanted to buy the Burnt Sienna Octane RLCS decal for 60 credits. I actually think this was going for like 100 at the time. We made profit on the trades where this came from, So I was totally happy with this. I was fine with it. This next trade, I was able to sell my titanium white finnies off for 90 credits. I was totally fine with this. We had already made profit on this. We had the 2 titanium white gold explosions and the 2 checkered black gold explosions. Anyways, I was super happy with this trade. This next trade, I was able to trade off my dicey wheels for a crimson cosmosis, big splash, and the body aftershock. This was pretty good item overpay because I believe the crimson cosmosis was the same price as the dicey wheels, but he gave me that, and I really didn't want to sell the cosmosis because it just wasn't selling all that much. And the big splash, I mean, everybody has big splash. Who doesn't have big splash? But I was like, you know what? I think I'll be able to get some profit out of this. So I was happy. I mean, there's profit to be made everywhere. You just gotta be patient. This next deal was a little bit questionable. This guy offered me 10 credits plus Crimson Flamethrower and Cirrus Rocket Boost. The Crimson Flamethrower right now was going for, I believe, 150 to 250 credits. The thing is, though, Crimson Flamethrower really wasn't selling all that well, to what I could tell. But I was like, I'll probably be able to flip it for something. We bought Glorifier for 130 credits, and I was like, you know what? We'll take it. I'll figure out a way to sell it. I mean, patience is key. Remember, patience is key with trading. This next trade, I was able to sell Octane Shisa off for 180 credits, which, in my opinion, was really good. We bought this for 120 credits. I believe this was a little bit below the minimum at the time. I believe it was going for around 200, but I decided to take the 180 and just be done with that. We made 60 credits profit, so I was totally happy with that. This next trade, I was able to sell off one of the titanium white checkered flags for 50 credits. These really sell fairly easily, in my opinion. 40 to 50 credits is usually what you can get out of them. So if you got these, sell them. This next trade, I was able to sell off one of the black checkered gold explosions for 20 credits. These were going for 20 to 30 at the time. I think 40 was the max, actually, it might have been going for, but I couldn't sell them for 30, so I dropped it to 20, and this guy picked it up pretty quickly. This next trade, I was able to sell my Victor Glorifier for 170 credits, and this is the Glorifier that I bought for 90 credits, so we made 80 credits profit, nearly doubled profit. Now, this next trade, I don't exactly know why, but this guy offered me a biomass black market decal for andonized. I don't know if he just really wanted andonized. I guess so, because andonized is only going for like 60 credits. Biomass was going for like 100. So, I mean, I wasn't going to like turn this down because it's a really good deal. But yeah, so we were able to get this really, really good deal, and I was super happy with that trade. So the very next trade, I was able to sell biomass for 120 credits, which was like really, really good. I mean, come on, we got this from andonized. Andonized is going for 60. We basically doubled profit here, okay? I mean, there's no two ways about it. We basically just doubled profit on this trade. And I mean, I'm not going to say no to double profit trade. This next trade, I found somebody who was selling andonized pearl for 80 credits. I believe this was about, was it going for 100 credits at the time? So it was about 20 credits below. I figured I could probably flip it, or I could use it to, like, you know, maybe haggle with somebody a little bit and, like, you know, maybe get another biomass, you know what I'm saying, or something higher. But I just kind of jumped on it because, like, you know, andonized pearl usually sells pretty easily, so it was a no-brainer deal for me. This next trade, I went back to the first episode of what I was doing, which was buying sparkles for 50 credits and then flipping them for like 90 to 100. Sparkles, I don't know why, is just still, it stays consistent. I mean, it's been over almost a year since my first episode on this series, and Sparkles is still the same price, which is phenomenal, and you can still find it for 50 credits. So yeah, super happy with these trades. This next trade, I was able to sell the other black checkered flag gold explosion for 30 credits this time. Pure profit trade. I absolutely love trades like this. The next trade is actually with the very same guy, and he bought Big Splash for 40 credits, and I think this one came with, man, I don't actually remember what trade. Oh, this came with the dicey wheels. That's what it was. I knew it came with something. So yeah, 40 credits profit. So this next trade is able to sell my Goalkeeper Big Splash goal explosion for 50 credits. I had it marked at 50, and then I actually changed it to 40. But right before I changed it to 40, the guy messaged me saying he wanted to buy it, and he put in 50 credits in the chat, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna say anything. So we were able to get Goalkeeper, or we were able to sell this Big Splash for 50 credits, which I was super happy with. This next trade is actually with the same guy as well. He left, literally unfriended me, left the party, gone. A minute later, he comes back like he wants to buy the Crimson Cosmosis. Now, sadly, he had seen this one after it was marked down. So instead of getting my 60, I got 50 for it. But hey, I had been holding on to this gold explosion for I don't know how long. So I was totally happy with this. I let him have it for 50. For this next trade, I was able to sell andonized pearl off for 100 credits. So I made about 20 credits profit. I mean, not huge, but again, it's just, at this point in time, I realized that I just needed to start liquidating everything and turning all of my items into credits. because white Zombas had actually come down a little bit, and I was pretty sure I was going to be able to get close to enough credits if I sold everything, so that's just what I started doing. This next trade, I was able to flip my sparkles for 80 credits, made a 30 credit profit because we bought these for 50. And again, like I said earlier, I was just trying to liquidate everything at this point because I was pretty sure I'd be able to get white Zombas if I just liquidated all of my entire inventory. And sure enough, for the final trade of the video and the final trade of the series, I was able to trade 1,400 credits plus my Trigon and Flower Tulip, because you know what, we why not? We just threw the Flower Tulip in there. Actually, no, he wanted a trash item. So we threw the Trigon, Flower Tulip, and 1,400 credits in, and we were able to get our white Zombas that we lost. And the coolest part about this is the fact that these are actually Player's Choice Series Zombas. And the reason why this is special is because these are actually the same. It's from the same series that I actually pulled my original white Zombas. I got them out of a crate, and it was the happiest day of my life. And losing them was kind of a pain, but we were able to get them back, and now we have our titanium white Zombas Player's Choice Series in our inventory. So I guess that basically wraps up this series of trading scammer items all the way up to white Zombas, because we made it. We have our white Zombas now. I want to thank y'all all so much for watching this series and supporting it. It's been a load of fun. I'm not going to lie. I've learned a lot about trading, and I hope to keep doing more of this if you want me to. Thank y'all for watching. Leave any comments down below if there's other series you want me to trade to. I don't know. Just let me know. See y'all in the next one, and have a good rest of the day.